Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
All the doors swung open at 3 a.m. the night two loved ones committed self-deletion and the baby giggled at a voice. This happened 9 years ago during my husband's deployment. We lived in military housing. It was just me and my 19-month-old son in the house. My aunt and I were very close. She died of ovarian cancer 2 months before my son was born. I stayed with her through hospice care. She tried really hard to stay alive until his birth. I'm glad she at least got to feel him kick and move around. That day was normal. I spent a couple of hours chatting with a childhood friend. Went to bed like normal. I get woken at 3 a.m. to every door on the second floor slamming open at once. The force they slammed open put holes in the wall. I nearly pissed myself. I sit up and freeze, trying to process what just happened. Silence. Then I heard my aunt's voice baby talking and cooing to my son from his room. My son is responding to each time I hear her voice. He's squealing, giggling, baby belly laughing, and shaking the crib. So, I hear her, the baby responds, hear her, the baby responds, and so on. This went on for a couple of minutes. I start bawling my eyes out because I've missed hearing her voice so much. I get up and start walking to my son's room. They are still continuing until I enter the room. Her voice stops. My son is all happy and riled up. I took him and we went to sleep downstairs. I was too freaked out to stay up there. I spent the rest of the deployment sleeping on the couch. The next day, my nerves were shot. I tried contacting my friend but didn't hear from him. I tried contacting my uncle to see how he was doing. Don't hear from him either. Called my cousin and found out my uncle ended himself because he didn't want to live without my aunt anymore. The childhood friend I was talking to committed suicide that night too. He was talking to all his loved ones before he took his life. He didn't sound depressed or off. It was the usual banter about the outdoors and science fiction. He was always the strong, happy one in the group. Still dealing with survivor's guilt. I patched the holes in the walls. That never happened again with the doors. I don't drink or do drugs. I've been in therapy and I have anxiety and depression, but nothing that causes delusions like that. I'm not into the new age spiritual stuff, so this was very strange for me. Finishing the last class for my MBA after that was really hard. That was the worst week of my life so far. I lost 2 loved ones in the same night from self-deletion. This experience was the weirdest paranormal encounter I've had.
My brain-dead father-in-law is haunting me. My father-in-law had a heart attack and hit his head a few months ago. Since that time, he's been brain-dead in a medical facility. He is currently in a country where withdrawing life support is illegal. He will be kept alive on a vent and support until his natural death, if you can call it that, since he's currently unnaturally alive. I'd been having waking visions since this happened of him in an old-school Soviet-era bureaucratic office. He's there, trying to claim his body. He starts each day with a mission, to work his way through the queues of the 5 windows ahead of him so he can get all the paperwork and stamps needed to claim his body and go home. Each day, when he gets to the front of the line at the final, 5th window, he has run out of time. The bureaucrat behind that window slams it shut and tells him to come back tomorrow. Each day this repeats. Some days he gets closer than others, but every day does not make it to that 5th window in time. My neighbor's mother comes from generations of women with the gift. I asked my neighbor if her mother could communicate with him as he's in this in-between between life and death, and she told me no. That's not how it works. She can only clearly communicate with the fully dead. But that the family members should tell him that it's okay to move forward and go towards the light. I didn't have the heart to tell them. 2 weeks later, my neighbor and her mother were doing a reading, and my neighbor's mother got a message that I need to tell the family that my father-in-law doesn't fully realize he's dead and that he's lost in the in-between. Misha needs her to tell the family. She's the only one who knows, who can deliver the message. I never told my neighbor, nor her mother, my father-in-law's name, no less his nickname. I still don't know what to make of this.
If you're enjoying today's video about stories of our lives, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this and more. Now, let's get back to the video.
Is it looking for me? I'm a 33-year-old man from a very small town in the Czech Republic, and I'm a heavy smoker. Every night before bed, I go for a small walk to smoke my last cigarette of the day. Those who do this as well will understand when I say I love being alone outside at night. I just enjoy looking at the stars and otherwise misty clouds that cover the moon. I'm a bad singer, so this is also my opportunity to just be alone where no one can judge my little song. Sometimes I sing and sometimes I just hum. I like it because it just makes a peaceful before bed routine. A few days ago was different. It was a little later than usual and I had just stepped outside for my nightly smoke walk, but the cold made me reconsider. So, I stayed by my door, huddled in my coat, and half-heartedly smoked my cigarette. As I stood there, halfway through my cigarette, I heard something that caught my attention. It was a man's voice singing a song. At first, I wasn't sure where it was coming from, but then I realized it was coming from somewhere nearby. I liked it because I always do that too, and I just felt some me too bro kind of way. Curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to check down the block to see if I could hear it better. As I got a little closer, I could make up the words, and my heart dropped once I noticed that it was my song. And not only that, I realized it came from the area where I usually start singing. Even though I always sing it every night, and someone might have just liked it, I noped the hell out of there. I'm usually not a coward, but I finished my smoke inside that night. I know I sound like a scaredy cat, but it actually bothered me so much that I haven't gone for a before-bed walk since. Last night when I was in bed, I was almost falling asleep when I heard it again. My song, sung by the same voice. But what's so chilling about this is that it was so much closer. Whoever this is he looking for me? Did he just like the little song and did he develop the same kind of routine? Or is it a little darker than I hope? It's 10:30 a.m. as I write this, and I haven't felt like this much of a coward in a long time. It just feels off in a way that I can't explain. The energy is way better now and I will gladly go outside, but the night has changed for me and I'm anxious for tonight.
I work for a haunted 200-year-old church. ETA, not sure why, but I had to tag it NSFW for it to post. There's nothing NSFW here. The church campus consists of the sanctuary, the office, an empty, decrepit house where the priests used to live that was later used as a meeting space until it was condemned, and a cemetery with the oldest graves being those of War of 1812 soldiers. All of the buildings have stone exteriors. A priest died in the house in the late 1800s. He was old, so nothing nefarious there. But he still haunts the place, which seems odd to me since he was a priest and obviously believed in heaven, etc. Why stick around? When I first started working there, I was in the office with a member of the congregation who told me that on several occasions when they left the old house and turned off all of the lights, they would turn around and see lights that had switched back on inside through the windows. I believe in the paranormal and have had an experience myself, so I was intrigued. When I left the office that day by myself, I turned off the lights. At the last light switch, I felt almost an electric buzz through my finger. The office itself is old, so it wouldn't have surprised me if something wasn't grounded right, etc. Didn't think anything unusual about it. I went back to my desk to grab my things and lock the door, and the light switch I had turned off was on. Keep in mind this was the same day when I found out about the priest. I've tried asking him again to show me any sign that he's there, but he's never done anything else in the 4 years I've been working there. But without asking, I've seen flashes of light in a dark windowless room. I'm not sure if it was pareidolia, but I saw a man cross in front of my headlights and disappear. He had dark hair and was wearing a white shirt. I once unlocked the deadbolt on the door to the church, and when I went to turn the knob to go inside, something turned it the opposite way in my hand. This was during lockdown, so definitely no one was inside. I ran. I've seen motion detector lights outside turn on by themselves. And when I've jumped in front of them waving my hands, they'd never come on. I heard this one from my boss, who's a priest. The organist was practicing by themselves in the church when a pencil went flying across the room. My boss also told me that members have said they've seen the priest looking out of the windows of the house. The decrepit house is supposed to be torn down within the next year or two. I'm not sure how or if that will affect the priest who won't leave. Maybe he finally will.
Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos about stories of our lives. Click on one of these videos to watch more and see you soon.